Well, that's like in the LP, you have people like repeat after you.
Yeah, that's what you're getting it. So it might be what it is.
Vaginal fluid.
So we'll deal with that early.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
So you know, but email us, we'll definitely email you. I'm trying to go on Wednesday.
I've never organized this.
And then if you feel removed, by Thursday. Oh, yeah, we forgot, you know, Saturday, you know what? Okay, thank you very much.
Rachel, I'm coming. No, I do have one. Oh, yeah.
Shannon should be.
Where am I going? A lot of choices, a lot of choices. You're like, don't sit next to me.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Awesome. Hi. Thank you so much for coming to Newton North's first Sexual Health Day. Woo! First and foremost, if you can't see the screen, please move so that you can. We have some really cool and important info over here. And if more people come in, they can fill in around you. I know we had a seating chart up here, but at this point, if you can't see, please move. But yeah, so welcome to our C-Block presentation with the Planned Parenthood League of Massachusetts Get Real Teen Council. So they'll tell you more about GRTC, but Poppy, Sophia, and Irene, and myself are all a part of a peer-taught sexual health advocacy group through PPLM, which is Planned Parenthood League of Massachusetts, and they're here to talk about STIs, protection methods, and consent. But before we get started, I wanted to explain a bit about why we're here today. The CDC reported that even through the pandemic, levels of sexually transmitted infections among adolescents and teens continued to rise. And in light of the recent legislation being put in effect to limit reproductive access, it is essential to learn about prevention in order to keep yourself safe in so many ways. The GRTC is here to teach us about prevention and help us achieve our goal to widen access to comprehensive sexual health. And we're here to discuss important and less talked about aspects of human sexuality. So thank you all so much for coming today. And here they are, GRTC. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sophia. I'm a junior here and I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Poppy. I'm also a junior and I use she, her pronouns.
My name's Irene. I'm a senior here and I use she, her pronouns.
And like as Naomi said, we all love GRTC here. It's a program that promotes teaching fact-based information to teens and by other teens. And like where we live, people talk about health all the time, like the health of our parents and grandparents and of our planet and like ourselves. And so many people have opinions on how you should take care of yourself, but that's really a decision you need to make for yourself. And the best way to do that is to collect factual information. Okay, so we are going to start off our presentation today talking about why the reasons behind people having sex. There's a bunch of reasons people choose to engage in sexual behaviors like pleasure and reproduction, and also more negative reasons like peer pressure. And we also know that usually when people in movies and books and media refer to sex, they're talking about penis to vagina sex, but we know that there are a lot of other ways people can be sexually intimate. So yeah.
An example of an intimate behavior might be example of an intimate behavior might be hugging. An example of a sexual behavior might be oral sex. Thinking of all these types of behaviors, we know that sex and intimacy can look a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. All of these are valid and can be pleasurable and amazing, assuming that consent is present. Consent means to give permission, and in all of the sexual and intimate behaviors, consent is crucial.
Sexual consent requires an unmanipulated, sober, and enthusiastic yes from everyone involved. Unmanipulated means making an informed decision without any pressure or coaxing from another person. Sober means not being under the influence of any alcohol or drugs, legal or illegal, awake and fully able to make a decision for oneself. And enthusiastic means genuinely and energetically wanting to do something. Enthusiasm may look and feel differently for different people. A handy acronym to remember this definition is USE, as in use consent. USE can always help in remembering the definition of sexual consent. Whenever there's a gray area or we're feeling unsure, always think back to USE.
Okay, so on this slide are more important pieces of information about consent. The legal age of consent in Massachusetts is 16, which means that someone under the age of 16 cannot legally consent to sex, even if they're unmanipulated, sober, and enthusiastic. And this law just exists to protect people under the age of 16 from being taken advantage of by people who are older. And we share this information not in judgment or because we are assuming anyone is or isn't having sex. We just want to provide information so people can make decisions when they choose to do so. And also, we're not lawyers, so we can't say for sure what will happen if people under the age of 16 have sex with one another.
So consent can also be removed at any time. It doesn't matter if it's before sex or during sex. Just because somebody has given their consent once does not mean that they have given it forever or for everything. For example, someone might give their consent to kiss someone, but that does not mean that they are ready or want to have sex.
Consent is not something someone owes someone else. It is a personal decision about individual comfort and safety. In many cases, someone may not feel safe giving their consent. An important part of sexual consent involves understanding and accepting what all people involved have decided about protection methods and safety. In order for everyone to be able to understand and accept decisions made about protection, people would need to have that conversation before they have sex.
And so now we're going to talk about some risks associated with sexual behaviors. It's really important that people know how to keep themselves and their partners safe. And so one main risk with having sex is STIs, or sexually transmitted infections. Some people might be more familiar with the term STD, or sexually transmitted disease. We just say STI because STIs, because diseases have clear signs and symptoms, whereas infections do not always.
We have this super cool resource called an STI risk spectrum chart. And as you can see, there are many behaviors at the top in gray and different risk and prevention categories on the side. They are grouped by color. These colors correspond to the level of risk. These behaviors in the red carry the highest risk for STI transmission or unintended pregnancy. As you can see, penis, vagina, and sex carries a high risk for unintended pregnancy. Unintended pregnancy can also occur anytime pre-ejaculate or ejaculate enters the vagina of a person who also has a uterus. The sexual behaviors in blue carry some risks for STIs or unintended pregnancy. The green carries low to no risk.
We're going to spend the next few minutes reviewing a few important facts about STIs. Here is a helpful document called a sexually transmitted infection chart. First and foremost, let's talk about how STIs are transmitted. There are 7 ways that STIs can be transmitted from person to person. You'll notice in the transmission column that different STIs are transmitted in different ways. The 7 ways that any STI can be transmitted ejaculate, vaginal fluid, rectal fluid, blood, breast milk, and skin-to-skin contact during vaginal, oral, or anal sex. For our memories, let's say them together. Repeat after me. Pre-ejaculate.
Pre-ejaculate.
Ejaculate.
Ejaculate.
Vaginal fluid.
Vaginal fluid.
Rectal fluid.
Rectal fluid.
Blood.
Blood.
Breast milk.
Breast milk.
Skin-to-skin contact.
Skin-to-skin contact.
Okay, thanks everyone. Like that was fun, right? Okay, before we move forward, I'm going to define some of these terms for you. So pre-ejaculate is the small amount of fluid that comes out of the penis every time a person gets an erection post-puberty. And a cool little fact is that it can actually contain up to 20,000 sperm. Ejaculate, otherwise known as semen, is the combination of sperm and seminal fluid. Comes out of the penis when someone gets an orgasm, and it can contain between 300 million and 500 million sperm. Vaginal fluid is the fluid that comes out of the vagina, and rectal fluid is a small amount of fluid that lubricates the rectum. And all of these, as we've said, can transmit STIs along with blood and breast milk. And there are a lot of myths about ways STIs are transmitted, like a public toilet seat or a hot tub, but you're all good there. You're not gonna get an STI.
We talked a few minutes ago about how the most common symptom of an STI is no symptom. The only way for someone to know if they have an STI is to get tested. And a fun fact is that a young person can get access to free and confidential STI testing at Planned Parenthood. We know that there are a lot of barriers to young people getting tested. And so this slide walks us through what we would need to do to get tested at Planned Parenthood while following the COVID-19 regulations. You guys can feel free to take a picture of this slide.
Are these slides going to be available?
Yes.
So now let's turn back to the STI chart and find the treatment column for this next part. Some STIs are spread through bacteria. These STIs can be cured. Bacterial STIs like chlamydia can be cured with antibiotics, just like strep throat or an ear infection. Some STIs are spread through viruses, and they are called viral STIs. They can't be cured, but they can be treated.
There are two types of protection methods that prevent both pregnancy and STIs, abstinence and condoms. The next slide of our protection methods chart shows this. And abstinence means to not have sex or to delay having sex until a later date. And it is the most effective protection method because if someone is voluntarily choosing not to engage in sex or to delay sex, they aren't at risk for unintended pregnancy or STIs. And a side note is that a person can practice abstinence whether or not they've had sex before. The next two methods on the chart are two types of condoms, external and internal. External condoms are 85 to 98% effective. And you may have noticed there's a range of efficacy, and this is due to human error. Like, for example, some people will double condom, but that causes friction and it makes them more likely to break, so just use one. The next slides are going to have the steps to correct inconsistent condom use to make them 98% effective every time.
There's one other method that also prevents STIs during oral sex on the vulva or anus. It's called a dental dam. A person can buy a dental dam for $1 at Planned Parenthood, or they can make their own using a condom.
Dental dams prevent the spread of STIs. Aside from abstinence and condoms, there are a lot of other methods people use to prevent unintended pregnancy. Most of these methods are hormonal. We're going to explain how all of these hormonal methods work in the body.
work by doing three things. One, they prevent ovulation, which is the release of an egg from an ovary. Two, they thin the uterine lining, so it's less likely for pregnancy to occur. And three, they thicken cervical mucus, making it more difficult for sperm to enter the uterus. And the only difference between these methods is how often they are taken or used by a person. And none of these hormonal methods work to prevent the spread of STIs.
We're going to take some time to go over these methods and their efficacy.
So there's the pill, which is, in order to be 99% effective, the pill has to be taken at the same time every day.
There's the patch, which in order to be 99% effective, the patch must be applied once a week anywhere other than the breasts or on the feet. And at the end of the week, the patch is removed and a new one is applied.
Next, we have the ring. In order to be 99% effective, the ring is inserted into the vagina once every 3 weeks. It remains in the body the entire time. If a person is concerned about a partner feeling the ring during sex, they can remove the ring during sex. It must be reinserted immediately after sex.
So then there's also the shot, and for that to be 99% effective, a person would need to see their healthcare provider once every 3 months to get that shot injected for them.
Next, we have the hormonal IUD. So in order for this to be 99% effective, a person would have to see a healthcare provider to have the IUD inserted into the uterus. The hormonal IUD, once inserted, can remain in the body for up to 6 years.
Then there's the implant, which in order to be 99% effective, a person would see a healthcare provider to have the implant inserted into the arm. Once inserted, the implant can remain in the body for up to 3 years.
We also have the copper IUD, which contains no hormones, and a person would need to see a healthcare provider to get this implanted into the uterus. A copper IUD can remain in the uterus for up to 12 years, and it prevents pregnancy by creating a hostile environment for sperm. Also, if it is implanted up to 5 days after having sex, it can work as a form of emergency contraception.
And emergency contraception is a pill that can be taken after unprotected sex to prevent a pregnancy. It is more effective the sooner it is taken. It can be purchased at any drugstore or pharmacy over the counter and does not require a doctor's prescription.
And with that, we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you all so much for coming to listen and learn.
Hi. Sorry, I'm interrupting quickly. Give him a hand. I made the silly mistake of not mentioning our question form. So this is the URL, but there are also QR codes like all over the place and also up here. So ask questions because these people are very well trained in answering any questions you have. So it's going to go to a Google form, which we are then going to field to them. So if you have any questions at all, please scan that. I know that was a lot of information. And yeah, quickly. Yeah. So that's what I was actually going to say. Look at us. So now we're going to go back a little bit, and Sophia's going to give us a little more about external condoms.
Yeah. Okay, so for external condom use, this is a condom that goes on the penis. The first step is making sure you know which way to roll it down. So here, can you hold?
Yeah. So, you have a condom and you're going to use your finger, not the erect penis, and you're going to test to see which way it rolls. Like if you put it on your finger and it can't roll down, you have to flip it over. And the reason you need to test it on your finger first is because when someone gets an erection, there's pre-ejaculate and that contains sperm. So you don't, or an STI. So you don't want that to end up on the outside of the condom and then end up inserted in someone's anus or vagina. Yeah, and so then you'll put it on the penis and you pinch the top and you roll it down. And then when you're removing it, you want to remove it away from the body so that anything inside does not like spill out. And if you want to have sex again, use another condom. But yeah, as I said earlier, not two at the same time. And if you want to make your own dental dam with an external condom, you can like unroll it, and you know they look like they're like a cylinder with one side closed. And so you cut off the closed side, and you cut through the length of it, and you'll end up with like a rectangle of like latex. And either partner can hold that over the vagina or the anus during oral sex. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a link to our STI protection methods packet, so feel free to take this with you. You can have it forever, do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
But it's not up yet.
And another plug is that GRTC is recruiting. So if you're interested in being a part of this and learning more about sexual health advocacy, look up PPLM GRTC to apply for next year, or email our facilitator Rachel, whose email will be on the slides shortly. Thank you guys.
Okay, our first question is, if two people have been consistently having protected sex for over a year, are STIs still possible?
Yeah, so some STIs can be transmitted, like for example, through blood. So if someone's like, maybe like using injectable drugs, they could get an STI. If like you're sharing needles, you could get an STI from like transfer of blood in that way. There's, if like, if you're, you know, like if before you start having sex with this partner, like you're both tested and you know you have no STIs, there's not a great chance that either of you will get one, but there are like I said with needles, a couple like ways. I mean, there's not that many. Yeah.
So, are there any hormonal contraceptives for people with penises? Do you know anything about development? And if they're not being developed, why? That's a loaded question, so.
The hormonal contraceptive methods kind of work to stop the pregnancy in the woman's body, like using them or like with the person with the uterus. So it's kind of using those hormones, I think. I mean, I'm sure there could be scientific innovations made, but I don't know of any as of right now.
I'm sure that there is plans to develop contraceptives for people with penises, but recently there has been a lot of we know that maybe governments are more focused on people with uteruses and who can hold vaginas, who have vaginas, but yeah.
All right, the next question is, can you still get pregnant even if taking birth control?
Yes, due to like human error, for example, if you're taking the pill and you forget to take it for a couple days, then pregnancy is possible.
But like if you're taking it like consistently, you know, it's very unlikely. And also, yeah. it's like nine, it's very, very effective if taken like correctly and consistently.
So, with hormonal IUDs that last up to 6 or 12 years, can you take the IUD out before the 6 to 12 years are up?
Yes, it can be removed at any time.
All right, the next question is, what got all of you interested in working with the Planned Parenthood League of Massachusetts?
Oh, yeah, I can say my piece. I'm behind the TV though. I've been a part of GRTC for 2 years, and because of GRTC, I'm now organizing this event, which, perfect timing to do a little plug. If you're interested in getting involved in anything like this, or just any kind of civics in general, we have a great department here at Newton North, the Center for Civic Engagement and Service, which is nonpartisan. If you have any issues that you are passionate about, you can go see Ms. Yaffe and Ms. Wu, who are standing right over there, and talk to them. Also, you can come to any of us to ask about getting involved in anything, as well as our resource sheet outside, which that was a little plug, but I was just really interested in getting involved at Planned Parenthood just because of my own interests in reproductive access. And then I found GRTC, which is the coolest thing in the whole entire world. I bet they will say more about it, but it is like this group of really awesome teenagers who are all just there to talk about sex, which is really daunting and wild, but it's also like incredibly fulfilling, and I've learned like everything from GRTC and from Planned Parenthood in general. I'm like who I am because of it, so yeah.
I got involved because I just really wanted to help out. I felt like I wanted to do something with reproductive rights and healthcare access, and I felt that by joining this program, it could help me give a hand and reach more people besides this community, and include the Metro Boston area and reach as many people as possible.
I got involved also because I felt like I didn't know that much, so also if you feel like you don't know that much about it, that should not be a barrier to joining. It's such a welcoming group of people that are really just, you're there to learn and then you're there to teach.
Yeah, like what everyone else has said, I felt like I didn't know that much, so I was like, you know, partially from my own like knowledge I wanted to join. I'll add that I think applications are due Monday, but if you email, did we put Rachel's? Okay, we'll give you an email that if you could probably email this person and they would probably extend it if you ask very nicely.
It's rdavis@pplm.org, but it will be put on the slide, so
All right, so the next question is there an age minimum for getting STI testing at Planned Parenthood? And do you need parental consent if under this age, or under 18 years old?
I want to say there's no age limit, and Planned Parenthood is totally confidential and free, so your parents do not need to give consent, or, yeah, so you can just show up or do it through the telehealth.
Yeah, I do think you have to make an appointment just because of the COVID-19 regulations, but that should be it.
Can you tell people where their clinic is?
I'm pretty sure that the closest clinic is in Boston. It's on Commonwealth Avenue. There's also one in Central Mass, if that happens to be closer to you.
The clinic is close to BU, so on the north side of town, right after, it's right around the Star Market.
Also, yeah, in terms of STI testing, we have at Planned Parenthood free and confidential. But it does also sometimes come with a sliding scale, which means that you have a conversation. Yeah, which means it depends on one's own socioeconomic status, how much money they can put into it. So that's how the sliding scale works. But in terms of insurance, you don't always have to use insurance, but sometimes if insurance is used, there can be a bill or something sent to a household, which can be redirected at Planned Parenthood. So while there can sometimes be barriers to it being completely confidential from any family, if one were to ask a clinician there, they absolutely would be able to help you out with being confidential with that.
There's also so much information about it on their website, so you can like so much information. So it's a great place to look if you need like a reminder.
Cool. Okay. The next question is a fun one. The next question is, what's the best type of condom to use?
I would say it depends on, I don't know if it's asking like brand or like what type. I think it depends on what kind of sex you're having. And like whatever works best for like you and your partner. I love that question. Yeah, as for brand, you can like use any, like it should all be up to standard. And yeah, if you're having sex where a penis is going into a vagina or an anus, you probably want an external condom. Or if it's going, you can also use an internal condom to go in that gets inserted in the vagina. And yeah, dental dam for oral sex.
All right, the next question is, what are the possible side effects of birth control?
It depends on the person and also the type that's of birth control. That's a really good question. Yeah, I think it's really person dependent.
For like the pill, I know that like every different brand is gonna have different side effects, and also for the IUD, it just depends on like your body. I know some people, it's pretty painful getting the IUD, and for some people it's absolutely nothing. So I think it just depends person to person and whatever you're trying to do.
Also, it can affect the cycle of your period, so it can become like less regular, and like some people have like a little bit of spotting, like and like more frequently, and that can change too.
Okay, sorry. This next question, I'm not positive if this is, we might have to look into this a little bit, but for IUDs, with possible legislation that limit access to reproductive health services, will access to IUD removal or insertion be changed?
I mean, I don't think we know anything for sure, like any specifics about that, but with the legislation being changed, I think it just shows that this type of stuff could become less accessible, and especially with other forms of pregnancy removal, definitely become less accessible.
From my background knowledge, I know that like contraception methods are a kind of different piece of legislation, and so Roe v. Wade is specifically about abortion. So Roe v. Wade, possibly being overturned would only affect abortions, and possibly after that, other legislation affecting contraceptive methods could be passed, but Roe v. Wade is specifically for abortions.
Yeah, so Roe v. Wade is under like the right to privacy, which a lot of other things are also, like other legislation is also under, which is like right access to contraceptives and also like LGBTQ plus is it equality? I'm not political, like with, yeah. But so our next question. I don't want to look over because it's important, but this is not exactly with the panel. But what is PBLM's plan on how to handle the possibility of Roe versus Wade being overturned? Which is a great question. Planned Parenthood will continue to fight for reproductive justice. And in Massachusetts, reproductive access is very abundant, and which is really, yeah. So, do any of you want to speak on the Roe v. Wade? Yeah, we have a sheet outside, and we also have it in here of ways to get involved. It's our resource sheet if you're interested in sexual health or reproductive rights advocacy. So if that's something that is of interest, we have a bunch of different resources for that on this sheet here.
All right, the next question is, what else does Planned Parenthood provide?
Planned Parenthood can kind of just be like any other clinician's office, but it does focus on like reproductive health. So you can have access to abortions, contraceptive methods, STI testing, all those sorts of things.
I'd also like to add that they do hormone replacement, hormone affirmation, and replacement. Yeah, but besides that, it's just like a regular clinician's office.
Our next question is, are colored condoms safe?
Yes.
And then our next question is, if someone has a skin intolerance to latex, should they just not use a condom?
So actually, there are condoms made out of other materials besides latex. Internal condoms are generally not made with latex, and there are also external condoms made with what's it called? It starts with an N. Latex free. Yeah, they exist. Yeah, in the past, condoms have been made with like animal, like skin, which is like crazy. And I think those might still be available to get, but they are less effective of protecting against STIs.
Awesome. And another question about condoms. Is having sex without any protection a safe option?
That's an awesome question. I think if it's something you and your partner have talked about and you understand the risks, the possible risks of STI and pregnancy, depending, and everything else depending on the kind of sex you're having, it can be an okay option, but it's something you just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with, and that you know, like you understand the possible risks.
This next question is, do I have to go to the doctor to get the implant?
Yes, that's inserted by a healthcare professional.
Great. Continue asking any questions. We have a little time right now, but give it up for GRTC. Again, oh, plug the GRTC. These send you to the resources, and if you go to the Planned Parenthood website, you can find all this information about GRTC. And also, if you email Rachel, whose email is now on the slides, she can either help you with your application or give you more information about Planned Parenthood. So yeah.
All right, so once again, thank you all so much. I just want to plug a few opportunities if you're interested in getting more involved. So this Saturday, there's a march with Planned Parenthood called Bands Off Boston, and so that will be taking place in Copley Square, possibly, at noon on Saturday. Yes, on our resource sheet, we have and also our resource sheet, there's a QR code for the link tree. We have an online version as well, so you don't have to type out the links yourselves, because that can be tedious. Additionally, as we said already, you can definitely reach out to the Center for Civic Engagement and Service. And for the rest of Sexual Health Day, next block, during all lunches, we have a few booths that you can come and visit. And so we have some great resources for getting involved, and also just more information to help give to people, to educate them, or to keep yourselves to remember. Yes, Ms. Falk.
I just want to say that you all did such a great job and being up there in front of your peers is something that's awkward for many kids to talk about. I thought you all did an incredible job.
Give it up also for Naomi and Rachel back here.
And additionally, we have a win block opportunity. If you have some more questions and would rather ask some of the health teachers or just students, Naomi and I will be there. You can sign up for Miss Albert's win. We have a lot more space left, but I think at this time of the day, you probably can't change your win block. So you could ask one of us and we can reach out to Miss Albert to switch you into her win block. And that's just going to be a safe space to talk about literally anything, any of your experiences or just like concerns, anything. And finally, during G block, we have an incredible presentation from a speaker named Scott Freed, who has lived with AIDS for 36 years. And so you definitely don't want to miss it. There will be a Zoom that all of your teachers have links to. So if your class isn't signed up to come in during the Little Theater and you really want to see it, press your teachers about it, and they have access to the Zoom link. So they can have you join from your classroom. All right, that's it for the rest of the day. Thank you all. Oh, yes.
When people leave, can I just ask that Noel, because I know the 5 gentlemen in the back and these 2 gentlemen here to stay?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, yes.
Thank you all for coming, and also just wanted to say that there are many adults in the building who care about you, being safe. And if you have any questions, it's an amazing DE Health and Wellness Department, as well as your counselors, your teachers. So don't hesitate to reach out to people if you want to talk, have a question about anything.
Yes, all the counselors know that this is going on. So if you want to talk to them at any point today, definitely feel free. You will not be a burden, I promise.
Thank you. Hey, my group, we're going to go back to the dance studio.
No, are we grabbing food so we can join screen? Alright. So wait, it's like after lunch, we just like go as soon as lunch starts.
I had a bird's eye view of Noah's Fall, so I was seeing everything going on. So, right now, I'm gonna head down to the deed with Noah's Fall, which has lots of evidence on it right now. I've been watching every single photo that's been going back and forth. So, if you weren't involved in it, I would step away right now. If you were, bird's eye view of Noah's Fall, and I was watching all the photos that were being taken in here without consent, bouncing around. You're welcome to go there in a place where there's air traveling around. No, yeah, do not worry about like. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. Thank you for asking. There was a lot of photos being bounced around.
Yeah, because we were using that was.
Did they always see it?
I don't know if you call it.
I know for a fact. I know. Just know his photo being bounced around. Oh my god. That was so good. It was. Yes. In the audience. Besides anybody.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a problem with that.
It's gonna be easy enough. Who sent you the photo of the person graduating? That?
Like my family, he has no issue, and I was there, so actually
No, like Naomi, Julia.
Person in pain.
yeah.
No, I was.
Yeah.
Where the photo of the person in pain come
It's a really day, and that's all right.
I know it was not or one season, but like, it was, if it came from anyone, it's that point. So like, I guess it's not hygiene, not hygiene, not even like.
But I know for a fact that there is photos and discussion that was going around the room. That was quite humorous.
It's just so rude. Like, it's so disrespectful. Like, these are your peers. And it's also, and I'm like, that's, okay, I'm gonna cover. It's so wrong. I'm great. Like, did you guys ever get up here and do what they did? Probably not. So like, that's just. Thank you. Yeah, you guys are so happy. Like, that's, if that were our kids. Okay. I'd be like. Hi, is this my
Thanks so much.
what else do we have to do?
Oh, well, I'm taking my games to.
Definitely go. All right, my friends.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit.
Should we go 11 or should we go 9?
Where's the other seat?
At the door.
Did you put the G up?
No, not yet.
It's up to everybody. like, the question was, it was worded so dumb, but it was like, latex hurts my blah, 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 like, should I just raw dog or whatever? And I was like, oh, so someone has a latex intolerance. Should they not use protection?
Well, that was excellent. So I praise that.
Exactly, that's exact, because I had a latex allergy when I was little.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, no, there was so much, you guys had so much knowledge and great information, but it was really, really good. Great job. I felt like people were listening.
Yeah,
Some people on their phones, but which is always the case. But I
There were a few
felt like people were
boys
listening.
that were really uncomfortable. And, you know, a little giggling.
Yeah, I think they were the ones who asked questions, because when I would read it
Yeah.
out in a different way,
That
they'd be like,
But I don't know, are they the ones up there or over here?
I know, like, I don't know, like, over here, like, I've heard it
I don't know, I feel like, I hope these dominant like in schools laugh, or not yell at them, because like they're probably just uncomfortable and laughing at
exactly.
So I hope they're like,
Well, even if they just got a little bit, they got something.
Yeah.
It's good.
You know, and I think if we keep saying, this is really, kind of being about issues,
Right, both short term.
and long term. And it's
Yeah.
all about your safety, your
Right. So you're not trying to control your life.
No, you don't control your own life.
Yeah, right. So are we, is this all we have left from? We have more. Okay. I was handing them out at the door. So-
Okay, for my copy,
Take care.
we have,
Okay, perfect. All right. So anything that we can do or help with?
I don't think so.
Okay.
How about getting set up?
yeah.
See, that's the thing. We can get set up for me. Is that still streaming? Whatever. Getting set up. We don't have like anyone coming until 12, really, because
Okay.
GRTC can't come until 12.
What about you guys?
Yeah, we are gonna, and we have Sophie Mercado is helping us D block.
She's
Yeah, she is great. I know her. I texted her. She's coming during D block to help us set up and hang out and stuff. But yeah, that's it. We just need like, I don't know, because we have stuff from Reach. They gave us materials to hand out, and then we have our resource sheet. So I was thinking like just putting these two on a table that Rachel and I hang out at, and then other Rachel, like GRTC Rachel,
Yeah.
can just put another table out, and then since Bagley couldn't come,
Yeah. It's great if you guys are present.
of course, yes.
Really
You know, I sent it down to Consolway about GSA.
Yeah.
Always had to
Sorry, I was thinking that they might be under the registration.
and like that, yeah, I did invite them to do it to people, like we talked, said, you know, they want to be in.
Yeah.
But we need to collect these, right?
The QR codes, no, those are for G block. You think we can clear this form, right? Just so you're okay to use. I mean,
How do we? I don't know how to clear a form, but like, yeah.
okay, I think I went off looking at it this one.
Okay.
Well, I was kind of wondering if they want to be down.
No.
Did you put one on the door?
Right, should we return this table? Because you don't need this for stuff, right?
No, because
It was here, yeah.
I just want to put the plates back together.
Do you want to keep using these QR code sheets?
I think
Those are
fine.
for Scott's
Yeah.
name, yeah. Should be. Access to phone should be.
No, you guys do this.
That's
You know,
it.
the sorting and the redrafting.
And do you
this
think-
stuff?
Yeah.
So my one concern is if teachers are logged on to Zoom, that means we need to have a room.
Rachel, I need to be on the Zoom on my laptop.
So you guys are letting teachers in? Who's gonna do that?
Well, yeah.
Well,
Are we?
hopefully, I think Gary has to probably.
Okay, so are you gonna hook up to the,
I'll hook up.
do you have, I don't know, I can text Aiden,
And go to what?
but this is the only, I don't know if this one does that. I yeah, okay, cool, that's what I was
You'll be
thinking.
linked into Zoom too.
Yeah.
And so that we're off and you can also make co-hosts. I will also let people in. Right, and
Also-
you can only let teachers in.
Oh, of course.
Right. Also possibly for questions, just so there's like face-to-face contact, I can stand behind the computer with the camera.
Yeah.
Because then the classes that are tuned in can like see.
And in terms of, are we just gonna like spotlight him on the screen so we can't see the other cameras, or how is this? Cause I didn't know if it was.
Once you're co-host, you can be in the spotlight.
But there's not gonna be a camera like on the room, will there?
Right, I didn't know. I don't know. Nobody's not.
Like, is there supposed to be one?
There was, that's what the phone is.
Oh, that's
So we
cool.
could.
Aiden said it's not ideal to live stream a live stream because you won't be able to hear.
Yeah, no,
And
I
since
meant,
we have
I meant
this-
so Scott Free can like see everyone.
He could do that with his own view. He can just put it on gallery view.
But
No,
will
but
we
we're not
have?
gonna have a camera on.
And you know what? I think he said he was comfortable.
Yeah,